Your soulmate discovered the truth about you. And it changed their heart. Open this now. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. If these words have found you at this exact moment, take a slow breath because this is not happening by accident. There are thousands of voices you could have heard today, countless videos you could have opened, endless distractions competing for your attention, yet somehow you arrived here. That isn't coincidence. It feels like divine timing. The universe has a mysterious way of placing the right message in front of the right soul at the exact second it is needed most. So before doubt tries to interrupt, before logic convinces you to leave, stay with me for just a little longer because something remarkable is unfolding behind the scenes of your life. Your soulmate discovered the truth about you, and it changed their heart forever. They didn't expect it. They weren't looking for it. In fact, they had convinced themselves they already knew everything there was to know about this connection. But life has a way of revealing hidden truths when souls are finally ready to receive them. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. Somewhere, whether they're across town or across the country, whether you've met them already or destiny is still arranging your encounter, your soulmate has experienced a shift so profound that even they cannot explain it. It's as though invisible curtains have been pulled back from their heart. The confusion they've carried for so long is beginning to dissolve. Questions that once kept them awake at night suddenly have answers they never expected to find. And strangely, every answer keeps leading back to you. Have you noticed the signs lately? Maybe you've been catching the number 111 everywhere you look. Maybe 222 has appeared on receipts, clocks, license plates, or phone notifications. Perhaps 444 keeps following you, showing up so often that you've started wondering if someone is trying to get your attention. Or maybe 777 has appeared during moments when you silently ask the universe for reassurance. These aren't promises of specific future events. Many people simply see repeating numbers as personal reminders to pause, reflect, and stay open to meaning. Whatever they represent to you, today they feel like gentle nudges telling you not to lose hope. Because while you've been wondering whether anyone truly sees your heart, someone has finally begun to understand it in a completely different light. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. For a long time, your soulmate only saw fragments of your story. They saw your strength but not the battles that created it. They saw your smile but not the nights you cried when no one was watching. They admired your independence without realizing it was built from moments when you had no choice except to stand alone. They misunderstood your silence, believing it meant distance, when in reality it was your heart protecting itself after disappointment. They mistook your patience for indifference. They confused your kindness with weakness. But something has changed. A conversation, a memory, a quiet moment alone, perhaps even an unexpected realization caused them to stop and look deeper. Suddenly they understood that every piece they had misunderstood was actually evidence of how deeply you've loved, how courageously you've healed, and how faithfully you've kept believing even when life gave you reasons to stop. It's almost as if the universe whispered, "Look again." And this time, they did. What they discovered wasn't another version of you. It was the real you. The one hidden beneath fear, beneath survival, beneath every mask life forced you to wear. They finally recognized your heart. They finally recognized your light. And once someone truly sees that kind of light, it becomes impossible to forget. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. If you've been feeling emotionally overwhelmed recently, if you've sensed waves of emotion arriving without explanation, if memories have surfaced from nowhere or you've suddenly felt peaceful after weeks of uncertainty, trust that something inside you is changing too. Whether you see it as spiritual growth, emotional healing, or simply becoming more aware of yourself, you are not the same person you were even a few months ago. Your energy has shifted because you've been learning to release what no longer belongs in your story. Every tear you cried became part of your healing. Every disappointment quietly shaped your wisdom. Every ending prepared you for a beginning you couldn't yet see. And while you've been focused on becoming whole again, your soulmate has unknowingly been moving toward a similar awakening. Sometimes two hearts don't awaken at the same moment. Sometimes one must heal before the other can recognize what has always been standing in front of them. That's why timing matters. That's why patience matters. That's why the universe often feels quiet just before everything changes. Think back over the last few weeks. Have songs suddenly reminded you of someone without explanation? Have dreams felt unusually vivid? Have random memories appeared while you were driving, working, or lying awake at night? Have you felt an unexplainable pull to revisit places, hobbies, or routines you once loved? Many people interpret these moments as invitations to pay attention to their inner world rather than as proof of any single outcome. They can simply be reminders that your heart is speaking. Whether or not they point to another person, they are asking you to notice yourself. Yet in the story unfolding here, they also mirror something happening in another heart. Because while you were noticing these gentle nudges, your soulmate was experiencing their own. They found themselves wondering about you without intending to. Your name echoed unexpectedly in their thoughts. Something familiar reminded them of your kindness. A simple conversation made them realize they had judged you too quickly or never truly understood your journey. They started seeing your actions from a new perspective. Suddenly, moments that once seemed ordinary became deeply meaningful. The words you spoke months ago now carried wisdom they hadn't recognized before. The compassion you showed now appeared extraordinary. The love you quietly gave suddenly became impossible to ignore. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. There is something incredibly powerful about being fully seen. Not admired for perfection. Not loved for performance. But understood for who you genuinely are. That's what this revelation is about. It's about truth replacing assumptions. It's about understanding replacing confusion. It's about compassion replacing fear. Somewhere inside your soulmate's heart, something softened. Walls they believed would never come down began to crack. The version of you they carried in their mind no longer matched the reality they were finally beginning to understand. And with every realization came another emotion they couldn't easily explain. Regret. Gratitude. Wonder. Hope. They started asking themselves questions they had avoided for far too long. What if they misunderstood you? What if they walked away too quickly? What if destiny had been patiently waiting for them to wake up? Whether those questions ultimately lead to reunion, closure, or personal growth, they mark the beginning of a transformation. And transformations often begin with truth. Perhaps you've spent too much time believing your story wasn't enough. Perhaps you've worried that your scars made you difficult to love. Maybe you've wondered whether anyone would ever appreciate the quiet strength you've developed through every setback. Listen carefully, your value has never depended on someone else's ability to recognize it. Their realization doesn't create your worth, it simply reveals what was already there. That's the beautiful part of this message. Your light didn't suddenly appear today. It has always existed. Someone is only now beginning to notice it clearly. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. The universe has an extraordinary way of delaying answers until hearts are prepared to receive them. Seeds spend time beneath the soil before anyone sees them bloom. Dawn always arrives after the longest part of the night. Rivers carve mountains through quiet persistence rather than force. In the same way, some emotional truths require time before they can be understood. Perhaps your soulmate needed life to humble them. Perhaps they needed distance to recognize your presence. Perhaps they needed silence to finally hear what their heart had been trying to say all along. Whatever the reason, something has shifted. The energy surrounding this connection feels different. The chapter is changing. And even if you cannot yet see the next page, trust that every meaningful story reaches a moment where everything begins to make sense. But here's what you don't know yet. The truth your soulmate discovered isn't only about your kindness, your resilience, or your beautiful heart. It is something far deeper, something they never imagined could change everything they believed about this connection. And when that final realization reaches the surface, nothing between you will ever feel the same again, but that is a message your heart isn't ready to hear just yet. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. Before you let your mind convince you that this is just another coincidence, stay with these words for a little longer because something beautiful is still unfolding. The moment your soulmate discovered the truth about you, they expected to feel relief, but instead they felt something much deeper. Their heart became quiet in a way it hadn't been for a very long time. It was as though every distraction faded into the background, leaving only one undeniable realization standing in front of them. They could no longer pretend that what they felt for you was ordinary. They could no longer explain away the connection as chance, timing, or imagination. Something inside them had awakened, and once a soul awakens to love, it becomes impossible to return to sleep. That awakening didn't happen through dramatic fireworks or perfect circumstances. It happened in silence. It happened during an ordinary moment that suddenly became extraordinary. Maybe they were driving home when your memory unexpectedly crossed their mind. Maybe they heard a song that reminded them of the way your energy made them feel safe. Maybe someone spoke words that sounded exactly like advice you once gave them. Whatever the moment was, it carried an emotional weight they couldn't ignore. It felt almost as if the universe gently tapped them on the shoulder and whispered, "Look again." And this time, they finally did. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. They began replaying every conversation the two of you ever shared. The words they once overlooked suddenly carried an entirely different meaning. They realized your kindness wasn't weakness. It was courage. They realized your patience wasn't distance. It was maturity. They realized your quiet moments weren't emotional absence. They were moments when your heart was protecting itself from disappointment. Suddenly, pieces that never seemed to fit together formed a picture so clear it almost took their breath away. They remembered the way you encouraged people even when your own heart was hurting. They remembered the compassion you showed to strangers without expecting anything in return. They remembered how you continued believing in goodness despite everything life had placed in your path. And in that realization, something unexpected happened. Instead of seeing someone who had flaws, they saw someone who had survived. Instead of seeing someone difficult to understand, they saw someone incredibly brave. Instead of seeing someone they questioned, they saw someone they deeply admired. That realization humbled them in ways they never expected. It wasn't guilt alone. It wasn't regret alone. It was respect. Deep respect. The kind of respect that grows when someone finally understands the full story instead of judging a single chapter. Your soulmate started asking themselves questions they had spent months avoiding. What if the person they had been searching for had quietly been standing in front of them all along? What if every comparison they made with others only led them back to you because your soul had always felt different? What if the peace they were chasing wasn't somewhere else, but connected to the way your presence always made them feel understood? These questions arrived without warning, and once they entered their heart, they refused to leave. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. Around the same time, strange synchronicities began appearing in their everyday life. They looked at the clock and noticed 11:11 so often it almost became impossible to ignore. Later they caught 2:22 while thinking about forgiveness. Then 4:44 appeared during a moment when they questioned whether they should follow their heart instead of their fears. Many people see repeating numbers as gentle reminders to pause, reflect, or pay attention to what they're feeling. Whether you view them spiritually or simply as meaningful patterns, they encouraged your soulmate to slow down and listen to themselves. They stopped brushing aside the emotions they had buried. They stopped pretending they were completely over everything. They stopped running from questions that deserved honest answers. It felt as though every sign invited them to become more truthful with themselves. They didn't suddenly have every answer. Instead, they became willing to ask better questions. And sometimes healing begins not with certainty but with honesty. Meanwhile, something subtle was happening within you as well. Perhaps you've noticed yourself feeling calmer recently, even if life hasn't become easier. Maybe you found yourself letting go of conversations that once replayed endlessly in your mind. Perhaps you've begun smiling again without forcing it. Maybe you've started believing that your future isn't defined by your past. Those aren't small changes. They are signs that your own heart is making room for something healthier. The universe often prepares both people separately before bringing new understanding into their lives. Growth rarely happens in exactly the same way or at exactly the same pace, yet two journeys can still move toward the same destination. Your healing has never been wasted. Every lesson has shaped the person you are becoming. Every disappointment has taught you how to love yourself more deeply. Every delay has strengthened your patience. Every unanswered question has expanded your faith in ways you couldn't see at the time. That's why this season feels different. You're no longer chasing validation the way you once did. You're beginning to recognize your own value even before anyone else does. And ironically, that's often when people begin seeing your light more clearly. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. Your soulmate noticed this change too, even if only from a distance. They sensed that your energy had become steadier. There was something peaceful about you that hadn't existed before. You weren't trying to prove yourself anymore. You weren't forcing people to understand you. You were simply becoming yourself, and that authenticity carried a quiet strength they couldn't ignore. It made them wonder how many things they had misunderstood simply because they were looking through the lens of their own fears. They realized that sometimes we don't see people as they truly are. We see them through our own unhealed experiences. Once those fears begin healing, everything looks different. Suddenly they understood that your heart had never been their enemy. It had quietly been offering sincerity all along. They remembered moments when they could have chosen vulnerability but instead chose silence. They remembered opportunities to ask honest questions but settled for assumptions. They remembered times when fear spoke louder than trust. Those memories didn't exist to punish them. They existed to teach them. The truth has a gentle way of revealing itself when someone becomes ready to learn from it instead of resisting it. That's exactly what was happening now. The lessons they once avoided became the lessons they appreciated most. Their heart softened. Their perspective expanded. Their understanding deepened. It wasn't dramatic on the outside, but inside everything felt different. The walls that had protected them for so long no longer felt necessary. They were beginning to understand that vulnerability isn't weakness. It is often the birthplace of genuine connection. Then something happened that surprised them even more. They started praying differently. Whether they called it prayer, meditation, quiet reflection, or simply speaking from the heart, the words changed. Instead of asking for certainty, they asked for wisdom. Instead of asking life to remove every challenge, they asked for courage to face the truth. Instead of demanding immediate answers, they became willing to wait for the right timing. That shift changed everything. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't getting exactly what you asked for. Sometimes it's becoming the kind of person who can finally recognize what has been quietly growing all along. Don't scroll. Listen to this. This message is for you. Your heart needs this right now. If you've been wondering why your intuition feels stronger lately, trust yourself. Maybe you've felt an urge to slow down, journal, reconnect with old dreams, spend time in nature, or simply create more peace in your daily life. Those moments matter. They help you hear your own heart more clearly. Whether or not they lead to any specific relationship outcome, they lead you closer to yourself. And when you become more aligned with your own values, your choices naturally become clearer too. There is a quiet confidence growing inside you, even if you don't fully recognize it yet. You no longer need to chase what is meant to find you. You no longer need to force doors that refuse to open. You're beginning to trust that what truly belongs in your life will meet you with honesty instead of confusion, consistency instead of uncertainty, and peace instead of constant fear. That realization is changing your energy, and your soulmate can feel that change even if they cannot explain why. They are beginning to understand that love isn't about perfection. It isn't about never making mistakes. It isn't about always having the right words. It's about choosing truth over pride, understanding over assumptions, and courage over fear. Yet despite everything they've discovered, despite every realization that has touched their heart, there is still one question they haven't found the courage to answer. It's a question that keeps returning whenever your memory appears. A question that follows them into quiet evenings and early mornings. A question so powerful that it could change everything if they ever decide to face it honestly. And the moment they finally confront that question, the next chapter of this story will begin in a way neither of you could have imagined.